back, and today we're talking about the results of Australian Grand Prix, and not talking about Norris, Verstappen, so far. We're talking about Ferrari, and especially about Lewis Hamilton, and how much does he have left? Because so far, it has been, to start off with, very disappointing. No doubt about that. Lewis Hamilton finishes 10th in the Australian Grand Prix, and Ferrari overall was lackluster. Leclerc was 8th as well, so very poor, only in total getting 5 points out of this race. Where you have something I'm going to emphasize is Kick, the streaming platform, which they are a sponsor, not the manufacturer, but for Kick, the fact that they have done better than you would think the prestigious Ferrari, especially the last few years. It's a very disappointing start to this new team, again, especially with the acquisition of Lewis Hamilton. If you look at Hamilton, what he's making right now, he is making a 2-year, $60 million a year to be a racer, and the age is a little bit concerning, 40, 41. The next season, I do question how much he has left. And of course, you look at the team standings, like we talked about, Ferrari being 7th with 5 points. You have 3 that did not get any points because Alpine, Racing Bulls, and the highest. But you look at after that, Kick with 6 points, Aston Martin 8, Williams 10, Red Bull Racing 18, and you have McLaren and Mercedes tied at first with both 27 points. But again, shifting it back to Lewis Hamilton, I do wonder this, and it's a little bit concerning since 2021, and you can see a pattern, no doubt, with Mercedes when I'm talking to the team standings and the players, or the racers. Ever since 2021, when that controversial ending happened at the Saudi Grand Prix, where they were given that extra lap, and Verstappen took full advantage of it and stole it, if you want to say, from Lewis Hamilton to win it, it's been downhill since. He had 8 wins in 2021, which was just barely there to win it, or almost to win it that year. Since then, he has won 2 races in 4 years. 0 in 22, 0 in 23, 2 last year, and then to start off the season thus far, which again, I'm not going to put too emphasis on it because it's just 1 race for the season. We have still plenty of races to go, but 0 right now. And you look at the pole positions, 6th in 2022 was good, 3rd in 2023, went down to 7th in 2024, and right now he is 10th on this list. And if you look at the polls, only 1 in the last 4 years, and as well as for the top 5 places, 15, 12, 10, and 0 thus far. So again, for Lewis Hamilton, I do wonder how much it is left, and he's going to a team that the last few years have done better in terms of team standings. Now this can be a detriment on Lewis Hamilton too, because I'm going to give you the stats, and you're going to notice a trend like we just talked about for the Saudi Grand Prix ending. So I took the last 5 years of Ferrari and Mercedes, 24 to 2020. So if you look at Mercedes, they came in for team-wise first in 2020 and 2021. Now, mind you, let's emphasize 2021. That was, again, the controversial ending to the season. Since then, 2022, they were 3rd. 23, they were 2nd. And last year, they were 4th. You look at Ferrari, it's almost kind of flipped on its head. So in 2020, they were 6th. 2021, they were 3rd. Which, if you're comparing the Mercedes and Ferrari, Mercedes had obviously the 2 better seasons thus far. And again, flipped on its head. 2022, they were 2nd. 23, they were 3rd. Last year, they were 2nd. The last 3 years have been better than Mercedes. So you look at the team-wise, they are just always knocking at the door in contention. The last 3 years, 2nd place twice, 3rd place the 1 year. So they are right there. And you would think, well, maybe the team, with Lewis Hamilton going to a better team, better standings, that they'll be able to turn it around. And again, so far, 1 race, I don't want to put too much emphasis on it, but it was disappointing to see, no doubt about it. And again, that's why I do question, does Lewis Hamilton still have it? Is he still capable of being that elite racer that can go and win a title and win a championship and get Ferrari those pole wins? Because so far, you are way behind. Can you make it up? Absolutely. Like I keep saying over and over, there's still plenty of time to turn it around, but I do worry about how the rest of the remainder of the season is going to go, because McLaren and Mercedes are not going anywhere. Red Bull is not going anywhere. So if you look at just the top 3 alone, they're always going to be fighting. They're always going to be, at the very least, one of those guys or 2 racers are going to be in the top 5. I just don't know where Ferrari is going to be at that point. And again, for Lewis Hamilton, when you look at his track record, it is not ideal. Only 2 wins in the last 4 years. You think about all the countless races we have every single year. that is worrisome, and no doubt about that. So you can't go out there. This is not prime Lewis Hamilton, 10 or 11 wins. We're like, okay, we have a chance. Lewis Hamilton last 4 years has not had a track record to show you he can turn it around. Now, does he get pole positions? He does, yeah. Again, 15, 12, and 10 in the top 5. He does get you points, no doubt about that. He did come in third in 2023, but overall, it's been very lacking. It's been very disappointing, and I just worry about for Ferrari that they kind of took a swing and a miss on Hamilton. And it's what kind of tweeted out as well for this not too long ago. It says, as we start the 2025 Formula One season, I do question what Lewis Hamilton has left. A disappointing start with Ferrari, 10th place in Australian Grand Prix. Still very early, of course, but hasn't come close to winning a title since 2021. Maybe Ferrari can turn around for him. And again, you look at the team position-wise the last few years, they have been better than Mercedes. And again, is that a detriment to Lewis Hamilton because of that the last few years? We'll see. But again, for the money and for the cachet, the resume he brings, there is a lot of pressure on him, no doubt about that. And certainly Max Verstappen, we were looking at him potentially winning his 5th straight title, and maybe you start to question, well, as a few more years, does he surpass Lewis Hamilton in terms of like greatness and how we look at him? Because before that, Lewis Hamilton didn't really win anything before the end of the 2021 season. He didn't win any championships, and it's almost like a Michael Jordan-esque. I mean, it's a bad comparison, but a Michael Jordan-esque type of run where he wins the first one and he just goes off with it. And so thus far, it's shown that 4 straight titles, 21 to 24, and it's going to be, I think, a little bit more tougher competition this year, but certainly still has the capability of winning it. And again, you look at the team standings as of right now, if we kind of or racing standings as of right now, if I can get to that real quick, scrolling down to their polls. I don't know if we're going to be getting into it. Here it is. So for the updated, also I know it's the oh, yeah, here it is. Yeah, sorry, the standings for the championships. So Verstappen is there in second place with 18. Norris, of course, first winning the Grand Prix with 25. And you see Hamilton all the way at the bottom at 10th place, points after the Australian Grand Prix. And again, it's very concerning. Still relatively early, like I keep emphasizing over and over and over again. But that's a lot of ground to make up, especially for a guy who doesn't have a good track record of winning races, and being that dominant racer he once was. So that's something I do worry about, no doubt about that. For Ferrari, do they overpay? Do they just look at the name and go, hey, maybe we can just take a shot at it? I mean, we see this, like, if you want to compare us to any other sport for NFL and so forth. I think the kind of one comparison that would be good for that is Aaron Rodgers for football. With you hear the name, the cachet, it's like, well, maybe this is Aaron Rodgers, but again, up there in age, past his prime, still a solid player, but not what he used to be, not the MVP caliber Aaron Rodgers. And I do worry about for Lewis Hamilton that it's the same way too, where you hear the name, absolutely, you want Lewis Hamilton, the track record, the championships, but he's not the racer he once was. He's not giving you double-digit wins in races. He's not going to be contending for a title for the championship. And then that's, again, for Ferrari, I do worry, especially if it all plays out like this, and it's okay at best for Ferrari standings if they do fall back to, let's just say, 2020 in sixth place. I'm sure that no doubt there's going to be tons of chatter about, did we make the right decision? Did they make the right move of bringing Hamilton in? So, again, hopefully for his sake, a new change of scenery, and for Ferrari, who has done better team-wise the last few seasons than Mercedes, maybe that sparks something and he can try and turn around and be a little bit more competitive. But as right now, it's not worked out for the one race thus far in the Australian Grand Prix.